There are some due process considerations that have to be considered in the event that there's issues regarding the place of a certain property. Right now, we've always made it very easy for somebody to get off if they're noticed to be on. But I think that the Historic Preservation Commission should at least review the objections, and then we can consider. Right now, I think they've met to review those, so I think that you should review it. I'll be happy to attend a meeting of the Historic Preservation Commission to try to give them the basis as to why it was adopted the way it does, and what we were trying to avoid, and then take it from there. Yeah, I would. Is there a second? Any discussion? Okay, that's all. Thank you. Second, all in favor? Thanks. Okay. Other than that, the agenda remains as far as I know. So we have a couple of items for workshop. Monmouth County Recycling Facility. Stanley, are you going to deal with that?
Sure.
Well, Mark, or Stanley, either one.
Actually, Mark and I, it came to the Public Works Committee. We discussed it the other day. I know Mark has been working with the Environmental Commission on it. We're all in support of the county facility being created to handle recycling. Mark, if you have anything else to say, please.
Not much. It's basically an effort by the borough to throw support behind the idea of a countywide recycling center, so that Red Bank itself and the other municipalities in the area don't have to front the manpower and the bills of collecting our recycling, which we end up taking elsewhere anyway. So I think it's a win-win for the borough.
So we're going to move ahead with it, as I understand it, since there's no objection, right? Good.
Yeah, Mayor, there's a draft resolution been distributed that we can add to the agenda.
Yeah, we can add that on later. The second item is the shared services agreement for rehabilitation funds. The basis for that is many years ago when we had a lot more money on what was known as regional contribution agreements. As part of the Mount Laurel Dictate and programs, the borough was the recipient of substantial funds from adjacent communities to undertake rehabilitation of either public or private structures and public projects, utilizing monies that were provided to the borough by adjacent municipalities. Most of those programs died out when the Supreme Court of the state opted to question the validity of the Mount Laurel Dictate and also COA. But in any event, the RCA money's dried up, but we still have about $300,000 or so left in that account. Now, the background to what we're doing tonight is that when the program was in its heyday, the borough had retained, and we had to, under both federal as well, under matching grants as well as the state regulations at that time when I was on the council, we had to adopt a program and guidelines for that program, but it had to be administered by the local authority. And at that time, Red Bank was administering a number of these grants for properties in the targeted area. It was predominantly the west side. And we needed a full-time coordinator for the contractors, for the recipients of the grants, and also for the administration of funds and the certification of those outlays coming back and forth. So we had a really capable man that we had for many years, by the name of John Durzo, who was the coordinator and did an extraordinarily fun job. Retired since that time, and we've been sort of trying to administer it, but the reason why we've been trying to do it in-house without replacing Mr. Durzo, who was getting paid an administrator's salary, which was fair, but it was expensive, is that the funds themselves have dried out and there's very little projects going on right now. So instead of either giving this obligation and duty to another employee and having that employee get trained and certified when there's so little funds available, we opted for entering into a shared services agreement with the County of Monmouth for the county to administer those funds, and we would be paying the county essentially a fee for each project being administered. Bottom line is that instead of paying for pension as well as benefits and full-time salary for an individual who is certified at approximately $85,000 a year or more, we would be paying on an as-needed basis on a certain fee, which would be under $5,000 or so, depending on the project, but with the county without having an employee and without having an additional burden on our taxpayers. So I think it's a win-win for us, so that's what this is about, which is before us. And it's a renewable agreement with the county, and the county is very pleased to do it. They've done it for other municipalities, and they're, of course, certified to do so. So is there any questions on that?
Just wondering, Mayor, is this a loan that is given to the resident?
sorry?
Is this a loan
Well,
that is given to a resident that has to be
It used to
paid
be, it used to be as part of, but most of this, it could be a loan to rehabilitate, but this is also going to be used on public projects also, with other entities, yeah.
These are unexpended funds from an agreement we have with Reality. We received $2 million to do 100 units. We did that. So these are surplus funds that were left over after fulfilling that obligation. The question was, can we still use some of these funds that are left, or administration funds? So there's always a question, well, we can't use those administration funds because we have already used our 20% for the administration. I was able to meet with the Commissioner of DCA and we reviewed the agreement. The agreement says, no, we can expend those funds. And so I was advised that the county has a program that they provide the service for other municipalities. I reached out to them and met with the representatives. And they said, sure, we'll do it at a flat rate per unit. And we have some pending projects now that we use those funds for. And so they're going to come in, go a flat rate with no overhead, and when the money runs out, money runs out.
So this can also be used for infrastructure.
Yes.
Yes, you can, yeah.
We actually have an issue where some infrastructure which does affect to expend the funds, the homeowners have to be qualified. They have to be his need, and household income has to be under a certain level. But we actually have a piece of property that the borough owns, as a retaining wall that needs repair, that drifts over onto that property, which brought to light the need for these funds. And one part of the meeting with the commissioner was, can I use the funds for that purpose? And it's in our agreement, we can use it for infrastructure that supports such happening.
Does any other member of the council have any questions? I know a lady had a question. Why don't you come up for a second? So we get you on, you have to come up on tape.
Okay. Megan McCaffrey, 23 Chestnut Street, the last property that qualified under that program. And we were told that there was no more money. We sat in there and signed documents to have our paperwork done. And we were told, nope, it's all done. This program, Mount Laurel, is not about infrastructure. It's about housing. So hold on. I listen to you. You will listen to me. So we were told it was all going forward. We were going forward. We were permitted. I let all kinds of contractors into my house, and then it didn't go forward. And now years later, you're telling me you're going to take the excess money that you denied us and use it for something else, like a parking garage? No. No. What I'm saying to you is that we were told, we were approved, I have the paperwork, I signed it. I signed it in that room with John. And I'm telling you, John was in my house. So I'm telling you that if you're going to spend this money, spend it first on my house, because we were approved and we were promised it. And then they said, there's no more money. And also, I would like to know, and I would like somebody on the finance committee, like Linda, to look about the payback, because when people do sell their houses before the 10 years, the money does come back to the town. So where is that money going? I'd like to see that cash flow. So whether or not we get the money, I don't want to hear this about infrastructure. We went through all of it, and we didn't get a dime. And we were at the point, I signed the paperwork, I was permitted, and we were told we ran out of money. Maybe if we get some money from Manawan. So don't sit here and say that now there's excess money, because which is it? Do you have excess money, or did you lie to me? Which one is it?
I have the answer for you. We ran out of money administratively. We fulfilled the 100 units, and we had expended the maximum administratively. So we couldn't spend any more money. Now, I went to meet with the commissioner, I said, we have these unexpended funds, but we were told we can't expend more than we already expended because we had maximized the administrative cost. They said, you can use those funds for projects, but you can't use project money for administration. So, that said,
So in our case, all the administration was spent, in our case, all the administration was
Ms. McCaffrey, let
spent.
him finish, and then you can answer.
so we have the funds available. By partnering with the county, we don't have large administrative costs. I have the permission from DCA, and what I didn't say for brevity was I had the secretary that worked for Mr. Durzo pull the old files to see what properties were pending.
Oh,
And
you
those
didn't
properties-
mention that.
I know I did, you know, I will if you give me a chance. To reach out to those properties that were pending to see if they are still in need, to update the estimates, and they will get first priority in available funds.
So let me just shortcut that, her work tomorrow. We were number one next. We signed the paperwork in that office. So we should be all ready to go tomorrow, right?
We have to
That's not what they
update
said.
the estimates because the estimates were old. We may have to refile, we have to update the
But we have your
information.
assurance that you're going to revisit those last properties, correct?
I have a list, and if you see me after the meeting, give me your address. Actually, you have the address?
23 Chestnut Street.
23 Chestnut. If you're on the list, and you'll be
We're on the list.
contacted.
We were the next one. There's a permit in your office.
I can't go from memory. If you're on the list, you'll be contacted. If you are on the list, I'll contact you, and we'll search it out and make sure that she was thorough in her
So
check.
I'll be here tomorrow at 8:30 to see her.
He's not going
She's
to
not-
answer your way from me.
He doesn't come in home.
She's out on check. I will contact you
You'll be
when
contacted.
this is
No,
in
no,
place.
no, I'll be here. I will be here.
It'll be a waste of your time.
I'll waste all my time.
Until we,
Standing in this
All right,
until
you
we,
got your answer. Next.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. Going back to Two River Water Reclamation Authority. Yeah, we'll answer. Who's addressing that?
I guess I got it too. Two River Water Reclamation treats our sewage. We pump that sewage from Bogdan Place through the bank to a pump station at Rumsey Place. Two Rivers Water has been introducing a chemical that helps neutralize the hydrogen sulfide. I know it's getting detailed, but basically they introduced a chemical which helps prevent the deterioration of the concrete lines that run the sewage under the river to Two Rivers treatment plant. That line has been deteriorated, and because it's 90% ours, we're going to have a cost of repairing that line. What they found is the introduction of that chemical there, it doesn't mix with the hydrogen sulfide produced by sewage in sufficient mixture in order to prevent the deterioration at that point. They proposed putting a chemical introduction at our Bogdan Place station at a $25,000 cost to the borough. Net the $3,000 we already paid for having it done there. I asked them if it's not working there, why don't we move it to Bogdan Place at no additional cost? They've agreed, and all this resolution does is allow us to make that installation happen.
All right, any objection with that? If not, let's move on with it. And lastly is the trolley resolution. We introduced the trolley ordinance at the last council meeting. I think that is subject to affirmation this evening if the ordinance goes through, but we will need as I told the clerk earlier, a certificate of insurance naming the borough lost insured, and also getting approval from the county with respect to the speed limits on the county roadway and the impact that it has on any county roadway that it has. And also, we may want to add and make the owner of the trolley service specifically on notice that patrons who use the trolley for liability purposes, both for him, for his company as well as to the borough, may not have open alcohol in the trolley. So I think that in some coastal towns on boardwalks that is waived, but we have open streets here, so. Anything else on that, Stanley?
Well, the ordinance, the public hearing on the ordinance will set those rules is in the packet, and we'll have a public hearing on that.
Okay. We're adding, yeah. Are there any other resolutions or any other agenda items? If not, let's move on to approval of the minutes of September 13th. Motion.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Mayoral appointments, there are none. Reports of mayor and council committee members. Eric?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. From Parks and Rec, I just want to let everybody know that the fall newsletter is up online, which includes upcoming dates, events, and registration info. Basketball and indoor soccer registrations are underway. Please send any pictures for the Red Bank Photo Contest to the rec office. We have 10 passes to Great Adventure as our prizes. For the Halloween season, we'll be having 3 events. First, on Friday the 13th at 7 p.m., we're going to be having a Halloween movie in Riverside Gardens Park featuring Hotel Transylvania. The parade will take place on October 22nd, line up at 1, and it starts at 2 p.m. And then Halloween Egg Hunt is going to be on Friday, October 27th at 7 at Count Basie Fields. And lastly, the Parks and Rec Committee is running a family trip to Cheesequake Farms on October 14th for pumpkin picking, a corn maze, crafts, and more. Any questions, you can see Charlie or myself. Thank you.
Are you starting at the Hotel Transylvania?
Yeah.
Ed?
Thanks, Mayor. The Historic Preservation Commission will meet next week to review design guidelines for Your Porch project that we had asked them to undertake in the Washington Street Historic District, and other design guidelines for the Historic District and inventory buildings. The Department of Public Utilities Committee met last week to discuss support for the Monmouth County Recycling Processing Facility that we talked about in workshop tonight, and the department's ongoing projects of well reconstruction, road rehabilitation, facility, fleet, grounds maintenance. Reports were both given by each one of the supervisors as well as the director. Both the borough administrator and the borough engineer were in attendance. And last night I was pleased to join Council President Corrigan and Assembly members Downey and Hotelli at a support dinner at lunch break. Lunch break continues its mission to feed the hungry and clothe those in need, with the gathering fellowship to deliver hope for those folks in serious need. And last week I was also pleased to join the mayor and Assemblyman Hotelli, Rabbi Klein, school board member Ballard, Gilda Rogers, Pastor Porter, and a host of others at lunch break for their vigil of hope, which served to remind everyone in our community for the need to come together in the wake of the Charlottesville episode during the summer. Congratulations to the Count Basie Theater on their groundbreaking last Wednesday. I was proud to represent the borough at the event accompanied by Mike and former Mayor McKenna, and everyone did miss you there. It was a really nice event.
I showed up after you guys had the drinks. I just wanted to know.
Actually, I went to meet Mark and Eric at the DPW.
You're right. Yeah, we had grilled cheese together.
Yeah, we missed you with the golden shovel. And then I just had 2 special birthday announcements. Former Historic Preservation Commission Chairman George Bowden celebrated his 90th birthday on Saturday. Kathy, Mike, and I were present at a celebration. And tomorrow, our own Dorothy Davis, a long-term volunteer at the Senior Center, will turn 90 also. And she's still at the Senior Center doing her thing. And lastly, thank you to the Police Department, the Fire Department, and the Department of Public Utilities for donating the time and vehicles at another successful Touch a Truck event in support of our own Monmouth Daycare Center. It was really great to see all the smiling faces of little people along with their parents and grandparents. It was a great day at the middle school. Thanks.
Thank you, Kathy.
No report.
Thank you. Michael?
Thank you, Mayor. Most of those events that Councilman Zipper said I was at, so I won't repeat them, but they were all good events. They were all really good events. The mayor and I did a grilled cheese at Count Basie.
And you forgot one. The walk attended by 500 people that day.
Oh, yeah, the community walk. Well, yes, Councilman Zipper brought that up. That's what. Oh, well,
You're not listening to his report. He said,
I understand. He has so much stuff. You know, it's hard to keep the beat. But
that was a quiz for you, whether you're listening.
that was a nice event. Mayor, you did speak very well, so I was happy to be able to attend. Obviously, I just want to invite everybody from this meeting to the primary school. We'll be having our public meeting on behalf of the White Street RFPs. All developers will be there. It'll be at 8 o'clock. We'll be starting the primary school. And, you know, I would ask if people can hold their public comments here with regards to the matter when we get and start at the primary school. Just because I think everybody will be in the same room, and everybody won't have to necessarily repeat themselves here as we start the primary school. If everybody just maybe start a little earlier, we can end up going a little longer and hear more people talk. So I hope to see everybody there, and I look forward to a productive discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mayor. Just real quick, but a big announcement. The Environmental Commission is hosting a pedestrian and bike safety focused meeting on October 10th at our regularly scheduled meeting in October, the first meeting in October. That's next 2 weeks from Tuesday. The purpose of this meeting is basically to address the issues in town where people have with either as a pedestrian or as a cyclist, or frankly, they're trying to educate some of our drivers to respect the bike lanes, respect the sharrows, respect crosswalks, etc. We have some really good guests that are coming both from the county and local governments in our neighboring towns, as well as some really great committee and coalition members from some neighboring committees that do this type of focus and grassroots kind of education. So it's going to be a really good event. We have a survey that is going up on the borough website. It'll also be on the Environmental Commission's Facebook page. You can link to it. That survey will be in both English and Spanish. It's being translated as we speak. So we're hoping to really engage the community. A lot of people that do walk in town, that do bike in town, have some concerns, and as do I. And so we need to address those issues and hopefully just build on the strides we've made as a town with sharrows and bike lanes and stuff like that, just raising awareness. But ultimately, it takes a community to really understand what the purpose is. So hopefully that meeting will address quite a few of those concerns. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Linda.
I have no report, Mr. Mayor.
Right, thank you. Okay, communications and petitions. Request for a block party from the residents of South Street on October 22nd. To close South Street from Brown Place to Bergen Place from 49. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Are there any members of the public who have any comments or questions regarding any ordinances or resolutions on for public discussion this evening? Mindful that ordinance 2017-34 is tabled and resolution 17-221 is further tabled. Mr. Hackett.
Stephen Heck, 135 Branch. I will be very brief, I hope. With respect to 17-225, developers agreement with Dan Holtz.
Sure.
Are there any tax abatements that are
No.
part of that agreement?
No.
Okay. Are there any
It's
tax
a,
abatements that are part of the redevelopment agreement with the Basic?
Any what?
Tax abatements?
Well, number one, they're tax exempt.
Right.
Denholtz is not. That's a fully compliant market rate development, and there are no abatements of any type of pilot. The Basic is tax exempt. You do know that the last time the Basic expanded outside of its traditional footprint, we were able to secure a payment in lieu of tax from the Basic for the value of the real estate on the former residence and office of Dr. Greenlee. And that would survive this developer's agreement because that was a separate payment in lieu of tax agreement. I would love, adore, and kiss every member of the Count Basie board twice or 3 or 4 times, including
Start with Ed.
including Ed, especially Ed. If the Basie board were to recognize that the borough of Red Bank and its residents have been extraordinarily hospitable and gracious to them, and it's a wonderful partnership. But partners, sometimes even husbands and wives or partners, talk to each other about finances, and it would be very wonderful if the Basie board were to show its appreciation. Just like the borough is showing its appreciation for the borough being in town, if the Basie board could show its appreciation by also reaching out and suggesting ways in which issues that are germane to tax exempt and some of their income producing properties could be revisited by them in pilot, just like Meridian has. So I just throw that out. I'm not going to be popular across the street, but I give kudos when they're warranted, but I also call the shots the way I see them.
They're increasing the valuation from 7 million plus to 20 plus million. And the $11,000 pilot that they pay is a pittance. And it's shameful. And I'll be brief. I'll leave it at shameful.
Dr. Heck, I appreciate your comments, and I think you appreciate mine. And
I do.
Between the lines, we both read and see each other's
Well, I don't want it to be
messages.
between the lines. I want it on the record that it's
they're
shameful,
listening.
and that's why I'm here.
I think they're listening. I can't talk about other litigation aspects, but I think they're reading between the lines and what the borough is doing.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Forrest.
I missed you guys 2 weeks ago. Sorry about that.
I'm sorry.
I missed you 2 weeks ago. I wasn't here. I tried every this
Reported on your
council.
whereabouts, so, I hope you were having a good time.
So I just wanted to support the, I guess it's 2017-33, the redevelopment plan rescinding. I think that's warranted, and I feel that it's a nice way, hopefully, to solve several problems.
That's not, yeah, you said address.
Right?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's on here, right?
No, I was answering the clerk.
So I was also, it's grateful to see everyone working together on this and moving forward and keeping an open mind as to what may or may not transpire in that lot. I kind of agree with what you were saying, Mr. Mayor, about the across the street. I would love to see the Count Basie engaged in some way in the overall parking strategy, whatever we come up with here. Because in my opinion, a very large part of this whole parking challenge that the town is facing is because of their tremendous success, which is wonderful, and I'm glad they're here, and I don't mind that part of my taxes goes and helps that happen. But, when I'm here on an event where they're sold out, it's quite clear that the majority of the parking problem here is because of these sold out events here, and we need to make their patrons happy in a way that's as fair as it can be for the residents. I was a little surprised to see that we just eliminated 3 of the developers without too much of a public process. I realize you guys are meeting behind closed sessions, so that's fine. But I'm glad we made progress, and I'm glad that we're down to 2, and then we'll have the hearing tonight. So thank you very much, and I think that's the extent of my comments, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Anybody else? If not, let's move right on to, as I indicated earlier, 2017-34 is tabled, so we go to public hearing on 2017-32, which is the ordinance amending the revised general ordinance of Red Bank to insert a new chapter 412 concerning jitneys. Any members of the public wish to be heard on this particular ordinance? If not, motion to close. Second.
I would like to put on the record, Mayor.
Go ahead.
So, in section 412-17 B7, it says it shall be unlawful for any person operating a jitney to drink intoxicating liquors or be under the influence of drugs of any kind while engaged in transporting passengers. That will be amended to riding a jitney. It's obvious that they're not allowed to be under the influence because they're licensed drivers. That's my thought for wording. So, and it's
Well, in some states it's recommended.
when I got appointed in Louisiana, I'm coming out. So it should be riding a jitney and while engaged in transporting passengers at the end it would be eliminated. That's not really a substantive change.
I don't think that's a substantive change. That's an interpretive change. Any problem with that from the council? Okay. What else, Greg?
That's all. I just wanted to put that on the record. Public hearing.
All right. Since that has been a change, any members of the public wish to address the ordinance on that change or anything else in the ordinance? If not, motion to close. Second. All in favor? Motion to adopt as amended. Second. Roll call.
Councilman Yangstrom?
Yes.
Councilman Zurich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan? Yes. Councilwoman Schwabenbauer? Yes. Councilman Taylor?
Yes.
Councilman Whalen?
Yes.
All right, the ordinance is adopted subject to the clarifications I made earlier with Pam, so get a hold of them and get their license and issue a permit and get the insurance certificate, and affect their business. Second is ordinance 2017-32 is an ordinance rescinding ordinance 2016-25 and the redevelopment plan for the property commonly known as the White Street parking lot located at 7579 White Street and identified on the borough's official tax map as block 31, lot 2.01. That is now open for public discussion. Any members of the public wish to address the council on that, and it's rescinding the prior ordinance.
Yeah, actually,
Ms. Maeda?
I just wanted to echo what Ben said, because I think it was really great that we were able to come.
You have to identify.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm Mary Beth Maida, I live on Branch Avenue, do I give my number?
Yes.
84 Branch Avenue.
Use the mic.
Use the mic. So I just wanted to say that I agree with Ben, and I wanted to echo his comments about how coming together is really the way to do this. And I love the trolley, so I think that that's a great thing too. And those two things are really positive. But as a citizen, and as someone who only became aware of this because it suddenly appeared, you know, on the Red Bank Green, and I started reading about it, I'm really uncomfortable with the process and the way this thing happened. And I just want to express this because I think it's important that somehow this gets said. There's accusations of it being politicized, but I think if it was politicized by you guys because you did this ordinance that exposed us to a lawsuit. And had you not approved that ordinance, we wouldn't have had a lawsuit, we wouldn't have had the 5 RFPs, we wouldn't have spent however much money we've spent so far going through this whole process, only to be basically back almost at zero. You know, I mean, we're starting on, again, I love the fact that we've got a trolley, I think it's a really good thing, and I think it's really smart that we're having a conversation that involves the town. But I think the way that we got here has been sloppy, or, you know, not as competent as it should be, and I would expect better of the people who are running the town to make sure that we don't get into these kinds of conversations where you're passing an ordinance and then several months later, I mean, you guys unanimously passed it, they didn't vote for it. And then, no, they did not vote for the, all right, well, I'm not gonna get into it. Bottom line is that you three passed.
The fact is the ordinance was adopted by 3-2.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, and then you guys had to rescind it. So I would just ask moving forward if we could be a little more careful about what we do so that when we spend time and energy and public enthusiasm on a project, we do it in a place where we really are united. And then the only other one I just wanted to say is a personal kvetch is that why couldn't we just have the meeting here? Obviously I don't like this public stuff, I get nervous. But I don't know why we have to go all the way down to the primary school, and it's back to school night. So I mean, parents who had to go to back to school night are not going to come to the meeting. I think it's really far away. I don't know why if we were going to use the public school, we didn't use the middle school, which is more centrally located. And I felt like I had to say these things because I don't want to be someone who just comments online and doesn't stand up and put my face behind it and say, this is how I feel about it. I'm glad we're moving forward. I want to move forward in a way that takes the residents' concerns into accountability, but also totally respects what the businesses are saying. Because for as long as I've owned this place, my house, 17 years, the businesses have been saying that we need to solve it, and wow, 17 years, that's a long time to be talking about something. If we can come to a conclusion that works great for everybody, I'm all about that, but I would like it to be a lot more open and a lot more well-managed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Michael Ballard, 190 River Street. Mr. Mayor, I have a lot of respect for you, but I'm going to be blunt. This whole parking RFP process has been a travesty. It's been a total, it's a nightmare for residents. After waiting months to speak to the council and the developers and prolonging the process, we finally get a date tonight on back to school night when parents have to choose between going to the primary school to talk about this very important project or going to their kids' school and meeting their teachers. That's not fair. And I think it was done on purpose. Second, this wasn't posted even on the borough website. Why? Why are you hiding it from the residents? I don't get it. If you're truly representing residents, you will cancel this meeting and reschedule it for a night when the town can come out and give their opinion. Who are you representing here? Because it's not the residents. Cancel this meeting and reschedule it.
Anybody else? Ms. Cohen?
Linda Cohen, 28 Riverside Avenue, Red Bank. I think that we've waited a very, very long time for a result here, and I think the business community has been very, very patient. And I think that we need to get on with this. We have an opportunity that doesn't last forever. And I think we have made the developers come out on a few occasions to explain all of this. And I think it's not fair and it's not just to let it happen again tonight. I'm sorry, I disagree with you, Michael, just because I think it was called for tonight and I think we need to move forward.
Anybody else? Okay, well, just a quick answer because maybe there's some misunderstanding. The only action item that the council is working on tonight, and the only legal action that's going to be taken by the council, is merely an action that if the council votes for it, will rescind the December 2016 ordinance that created the design specifications as well as the zoning specifications for the area in the development, which is the West Street project. That is the only action taken tonight. The only reason for that action would be that it vitiates the previous action of the council in December of 2016, but it also eliminates a legal situation that has been created in the Superior Court, hopefully by its elimination. The secondary aspect is, and again, there's been some diatribe about the council trying to choose a night that was inappropriate. The council chose that night not as a way to suppress or to hide any public hearing, but to encourage it. So, if that is a thought by individuals, I can say that all 6 of the council people up here had never envisioned that thought, or certainly would not tolerate that thought. Now, what will happen at the subsequent meeting at the primary school? First of all, it's been noticed. So even if you open it and close it by the parking committee, which is what it is, it's a parking committee meeting, the public meeting has been advertised, so by law, it still has to at least prorogue or commence and adjourn. So that has to be done anyhow. Some people are probably already there, I don't know. But no final action, no final decision, no determinative decision will be made by the parking committee at the subsequent meeting tonight. Does that mean that there will be no further public meetings? Absolutely not. There probably will be. And as I've argued before, the meeting should be here because it is centrally located. It is not. If it's tight, well, we all can become a little bit more cozy. And those thoughts that it was meant to hide or to repress or was not the intention or the spirit of anything that was done. It was actually the opposite, to create a bigger space. Having said that, no matter what happens this evening over there, it's not the final hearing state. It is only the beginning of a new beginning, which now eliminates this ordinance that has created a substantial amount of public diatribe. So there will be other hearings, and again, I would respectfully suggest that those hearings should be held here in the future to obviate those issues. But we can't just say it's canceled. Some people are probably over there. Once it's open, we can cancel it, but we would still have to, at least the parking committee would have to go over there. The parking committee is committed to at least going over. And it is not a full council meeting. No final action will be taken this evening at the subsequent meeting. So having said that, no further comments on the ordinance. Motion to close.
Mayor, I'll make a quick comment actually.
Motion to close first?
Yes. So moved.
Second? All in favor? Okay. A motion to adopt the ordinance rescinding.
Before that, I'd like to make a comment, Mayor.
On this ordinance?
On what you just said, a couple of questions, just based on what you just said as well.
Okay.
Be 30 seconds. The notion that only one side of the aisle picked a date that would be inconvenient for the public would just be incorrect, just because my first phone call actually about having a meeting after the council meeting was to the mayor who's on the other side, My second phone call was actually to Eric, Councilman Yingstrom, about having the meeting after this council meeting. So before I even told Councilman Taylor and Councilwoman Schwabauer about a meeting after tonight on this specific date, my first two phone calls were to the mayor and Councilman Yingstrom. Secondly, the reason why we are moving locations is because I've actually been at the middle school where there's been bigger issues throughout the town that we need a bigger venue so that when people try to come, it's the borough didn't move it because they don't want everybody to come. So either way, you're going to get blamed either way, right? If you don't have a bigger venue, then you don't let enough people come in. And then if you have a bigger one, now people are moving. But I think it's important to allow as many residents to be able to be heard and be in a room where they can hear what's going on. I remember one of the first meetings the borough held about the redevelopment plans. You actually couldn't even, there was actually probably 30, 40, or 50 people out in that hallway who were furious that they couldn't actually come in the meeting. So when you're going to talk about something and talk about the future of Red Bank, I think you need a bigger venue to allow as many residents, non-residents, and businesses to come and, one, hear what everybody has to say, not be stuck in a hallway behind closed doors. So that is the reason why we're moving it. It's really not that far, and we thought it was the best interest of the town. And like I said, the meeting was discussed between me, the mayor, and Councilman Yingstrom about having it after today's date. Just wanted to clear up some of those comments that were made. Thank you, Mayor.
Mayor, if I might add, my closing comment at our last council meeting was to Councilman Whalen. I basically thanked him for setting up this meeting because the commentary started at the last council meeting, and we, in agreement, all of us sitting here on the dais felt that tonight would be a good opportunity, not knowing that it was back to school night, because it was basically a team effort to try to get some public commentary assembled and give everybody an opportunity to speak, and that I have been asking for many months once we started this process. If apologies are necessary, let me make them on behalf of Michael, myself, Eric, as members of the parking committee for sort of screwing up the calendar tonight. But it was a good intention to give everybody an opportunity to be heard. Just disappointed that there are so many other things going on here in town tonight that we cannot get everybody's voices heard. But the mayor did very eloquently say that this is the first of dialogues of many that we will have. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Having said that, is there a motion on the ordinance? Second? Second. Roll call?
Councilman Yangstrom?
Yes.
Councilman Zipprich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan? Yes. Councilwoman Schwabenbauer? Yes. Councilman Taylor?
Yes.
Councilman Webb?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2016-25 is rescinded. Now we go to Resolution 17-220, authorizing the water and sewer refund due to overpayment. Motion? Second? All in favor? Any opposed? 17-222, authorizing tax appeal settlement regarding River House Associates pursuant to the recommendation of the assessor and borough tax council. Motion? Second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Resolution 223, authorizing continued discussions with certain redevelopers for the property known as the White Street parking lot, located 7579 White Street, and identify the borough's tax map as block 31, lot 2.01. Motion? Second? All in favor? Any opposed? Resolution 17-224, resolution authorizing the execution of a revised developers agreement with the Count Basie Theater Incorporated as executive. Motion second. Second. All in favor? Any opposed?
I'll abstain.
Okay. Resolution 17-2225, authorizing the execution of the developers agreement with Dentholtz Associates. Motion?
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Resolution 226, which is the resolution urging Monmouth County freeholders to take action to build and operate a recyclables processing facility. Motion? Second. Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Resolution 227, a resolution authorizing a service agreement with Monmouth County, the contract administration of the Red Bank Borough Indigenous Need Housing Rehabilitation Program. Motion? Second? All in favor? Any opposed? Resolution 17-228, resolution authorizing Two Rivers Water Reclamation Authority to relocate the chemical injection point to the Bodmin Place pump station, closer to my office, I guess. Motion? Second? All in favor? Any opposed? Resolution 17-229, a resolution establishing Red Bank Jitney Route number 1, wholly within the limits of the municipality. Motion?
Mayor, before we finalize that, we just have to have the wording subject to Monmouth County approval because we are going on County 10.
Right, so the,
just add it to the last.
just to, all right, to operate thereon, all the list subject to the authority
Approval.
to be issued by the Monmouth County of Monmouth. Okay, with that change, motion? So moved. Second? All in favor? Any opposed? Any other resolutions? None? Okay, resolution 17-230, right? Payment of bills, be it resolved by the mayor and council, the bills be paid on the attached check registry totaling $3,855,105.19. Motion? Second? All in favor? Any opposed? Any old business? I'd like to put on the resolution for next council meeting, a resolution which would be a sensitive council resolution that would request the Department of Transportation in the state of New Jersey to look with favor upon the studying, signalization, and approval of a traffic intersection device on Riverside Avenue at Bodmin Place.
That's a great idea.
There have been some discussions, and I think we need a resolution that would be a sense of the council, and I can move that along to be able to be a lot faster that way. Okay? So any objection to that? Any new business? Audience? Jimmy?
Good afternoon, Jimmy Dog, 48 West Sunset Ave.
I see you've taken to the Fred Boynton time slot. He always greets us with good afternoon, so I don't know what time he starts his day, but last time I checked, it was dark out. So
Well,
it's probably good evening to you, even though it's afternoon.
I think it's time, well, getting older now, that's all. But I want to bring something to your attention, Mayor Minute. I just want to bring something out. The street sweeper is not going up every street.
I'm sorry?
The street sweeper. You know when the street sweeper come around?
Yes.
It is not going up every street. And I said I was going to, even some of my friends said, I told them when I come down, that's the first thing I'm going to bring to the attention, even the council executive, why did street sweepers hit and miss streets? And this is all the time, you know. You got two machines, and I mean, be fair with everybody. Just don't do this street and this street.
Well, that is the operative guidelines that I know that the Director of Public Utilities and the council has authorized. So if there's any deviation from that, maybe you should bring it to the director's attention tonight and check out what streets and if you, and he'll.
But you know what it is, sometimes I hate to go look back. I'd rather come to you.
But since he's here tonight too, we can all,
Yeah, but you,
and if you know the streets, I'll be happy to sit down.
but you know this, Mayor Minute, you know, I don't even go that far, but I mean, when I come to you, I get stuff done.
I will be happy to sit down with you after the council.
I mean, I'm getting too old for this, because I'm saying, you know, you keep saying the same
Younger
thing.
than I am, pal.
You know, ever since summertime, same thing over and over and over. People, even people say, why is this the same thing? Hit or miss, you know. Not this street, do this street. Not this street, miss the next street. And another thing I want to bring to your attention is there's a couple I had, you know, been friends with for a long, very long time. They said the same thing on that street. And I'll tell you, it's Captain Street. It's going down towards the train tracks. And they also want to know how to get in contact with you because they got some other issues that need to be taken care of. And they told me to ask you for a certain for a number where they can reach you personally.
Let's talk later, and I'll be happy to call them tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, but the street sweeper is definitely
Yeah, no, we'll talk about both after the council meeting.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not going to scoot out, I'll talk to you. I really am not in that great of a hurry to go over the speech, rather to the primary.
Oh, well, I figured,
I'm only kidding. Mr. Ballard.
Not to repeat my name and address, 190 River Street, Michael Ballard. Just want to address a few of the comments that were made after I spoke. Number one, I didn't direct this at any party. It was to the council as a whole, okay? Number two, I'm glad they're finally giving the residents a chance to speak on this issue. It's very important to our town. But I know for a fact that it's not, that parking meeting is not posted on the borough website, and every other meeting is. And I don't understand why it's not. Number two, again, I'm glad they're having meetings. I'm thankful. But I know that when the borough requested a space, they originally requested a middle school and was told no because it was back to school night. So we knew that it was back to school night and it would draw residents away. I just want to make those clarifications.
Also, to further clarify, back to school night is listed on the public school website from 6 to 7 p.m., so it's already concluded. And our meeting doesn't start until 8 p.m. So anybody who's at that meeting can go to the primary school and attend part of the meeting if they wish.
Ms. Burnham.
I just want to clarify one other thing. The meeting is on the website as of today. I apologize. It was a council committee meeting, not a council meeting. So I didn't take it upon myself, but I was asked to post it first thing this morning, and it is on the website all day today.
Yeah, a resident reached out to me this morning and said that it was not on the borough website, and I then called Pam's cell phone and asked her to put it on, and within 5-6 minutes it was up on the website. And I know Councilman Zipperich, I think got the same, because you posted on your councilman's page, and I did the same thing too. I know we announced it at the last meeting.
But I think the confusion there, Mike, was that the calendar, you know, on the home page, it pops up on calendar of events, and it listed tonight's council meeting, but it was a subdirectory listing, I guess.
We don't list council committee meetings because they're not usually public,
Right,
so
right.
I just didn't take the thought process to go to the next step. Brought my attention to it.
But
And that's why-
you did have to click to get there, but it was there.
And then I called Pam and she put it on.
It's right on the end, it's a newsletter right on the page.
Ms. Burnham.
Good evening, Cindy Burnham, 71 Wallace. I have a question.
How's it feel to be a grandmother?
I'm loving life.
Good.
Loving life. So we had the Oyster Fest. The River Center put it on. The money was donated to who?
I think that's a question for River Center.
Jim? Where'd the money go?
To the Corps and the Booker Cancer Center at Riverview Medical Center.
Oh, I thought it was Meridian. No? A Riverview. Okay. Don't we have 5 lawsuits against Riverview and Meridian?
River Center
Well-
is not in lawsuits against.
No, but we do because they don't pay taxes. Remember?
We're ongoing, we're in litigation with Hackensack Meridian on tax appeals, and those are litigation matters.
Right, so I'm wondering, why is River Center giving Riverview money when we have a lawsuit
Again,
going?
it might be a very appropriate question. Hold on, guys. Might be a very appropriate question, but it's a question which we can't answer since it's outside of our jurisdiction.
Well, I just think it is very weird that River Center is giving money to somebody who we're suing, but that's all I want to say. What?
That's River Center's event, not the borough's event. So
I know that,
They are-
but isn't River
they are
Center
part
part
of
of our town? We should know what's going on.
Same thing.
And some of the same board members that are on River Center are on Meridian and a few other boards, affordable housing, and, okay, well, I just wanted to get on the record that I just thought that was wrong.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Hack.
Just a real quick clarification, if I may, concerning the ordinance rescinding ordinance number blah, 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 blah.
You're objecting to it.
No, I'm not objecting to it. You mentioned that there was something, that it was rescinding some zoning. You used the word zoning when you were describing it, and my question is this. Are you rescinding the template for the RFPs And are you rescinding that the White Street lot is an area in need of rehabilitation, or only the former?
Well, first of all, the RFPs were predicated on the issuance of that particular designation.
Yes.
If the designation is declared rescinded,
Yeah, they are moot. I understand that. What about the real estate? Is that still an area in need of rehabilitation?
no.
It is not. It's no longer an area in
Well,
need.
our redevelopment council is here, so
Well-
Leslie.
Yes.
She was packing up.
I was ready to go over to the
Got it
school.
here.
Okay.
Can I get an answer?
Yes, you can answer, yeah.
That one doesn't work, I don't think.
Thank you. The ordinance that was adopted tonight rescinds the ordinance that approved the redevelopment plan. It does not change the property from being an area in need of redevelopment.
Thank you
Those
very
are two
much.
separate things.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. Mr. Myers, don't go. Come on, Mr. Myers. There's another one here.
Thank you. William Meyer, 12 Elm Street, Red Bank. Mayor and I, or at least I was of the belief that after conversations, that the designation of White Street lot as an area in need of redevelopment was going to be rescinded, although I had, I believe a belief that the only thing that was on there mentioning it was the December ordinance. I have said before, and I'll say it again, I think that it would be a mistake not to rescind the designation as an area in redevelopment. Also, perhaps we should put that on the agenda for later and start from scratch, because I do not believe that the statute, that the White Street lots fits any of the categories under the statute. So we're going to have a problem going forward. You know, when something is tarnished, let's get all the rust off of this before we try to paint it again, because it's I think, a fallacy to go forward under that statute. We own the lot. We can pretty much do what we want with the lot. As far as River Center goes, my understanding is that this council has the power to designate where the River Center tax money goes. And if the council has the power to take half of that $500,000 and apply it towards a parking garage, we're in a fabulous position to build an appropriate sized parking garage that will generate funds, that will be paid down quickly, that will go up quickly, that will solve our problems in parking, at least for the near future, and get it done quickly without putting at risk a lot of these businesses that are going to suffer greatly under a big development plan. And I would like the council to move in that direction. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Scavone?
Thank you, Mayor. Jim Scavone, Executive Director of Red Bank River Center. I just want to announce, because River Center has pulled this together very quickly and we'd like to get the word out as much as possible, that next weekend, October 5, 6, and 7, the business community is hosting a Red Bank Gives Back event, and we are collecting funds and donations from the businesses, from customers who are in town for relief, disaster relief. We will be giving the money to the organization Direct Relief, which has a #1 rating on charity websites, so it's very reputable. And we would like help spreading the word as much as possible. We got our marketing materials in today, so we'll be blasting that out. So thank you.
Thank you.
5th, 6th, and 7th.
Mr. Point.
Thursday, Friday.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and Councilman. P.O. Box 274, Red Bank, Fairhaven. Mr. Mayor, I have two things I want to address to you. and I address to you because you're the mayor of this town. These contractors coming in here, digging these holes in the street, contractor y'all got. I think, maybe I'm wrong, they should notify the peoples in that area that the street is going to be blocked off. Incident happened last Friday. Nobody on that street, on Bank Street, knew that they was blocking that street off. And I made a phone call. I was there. Cars could get down one side. That was a lie. But when I found out, it was told that I'm lying. I was there. And you got a backhoe across the street in the driveway with the neck of that backhoe reaching the hole over here and a truck over here. You know how big Bank Street is. The whole street was blocked off. Lady down the street, she got a disabled child. The bus couldn't come and pick that baby up. She had to run to the corner. What I'm saying is, they should have got flyers out and gave them to the people in that area. Said, look, we're working on the street be closed. None of that happened. And when I got to it, it was, oh, one side was open. That's a lie. But I was lying because I was there. And I went to Mr. Sickles about it. And I told Mr. Stanley about it. Oh, Freddie, they said it was one side of it. Mr. Miller, I'm not going to lie to you. You go there right now, it's 2 holes where they cut out. They was working on both sides. Couldn't no cars come up one side, couldn't go down the other side. So it was a stink about it. And a couple people on the street was upset about it because nobody was noted that this street was going to be blocked off.
As you know, and I appreciate your comments, but a standard operating procedure that has been in place for a number of years, and it merits repeating, is that when there is even an emergency blockage of a street, that particular block and its residents ought to be the subject of a hand delivery of a notice so that people would know in the event they have emergencies. If it's a street, it's not just one side, it's got to be both sides of the street. So that's standard operating procedure. If it didn't happen, I don't know about that.
Well, listen, Mayor, I
that
respect what you just said because when I brought it to Stanley's attention, and I said, Stanley, you have a block party. We was told. No. He said, oh, that's only for a block party. Come on, you know, Mr. Miller, I worked in this town. And I know it better than that. But this is what you go to the council, the mayor, the borough administrator, this is what you're getting back. You're getting a lie that I'm telling a lie. So I just want to address that to you. I don't think it was right. I got the right answer from Mr. Sickles. And I had to bring it up. I think the people who are doing the work in this town on the street should send flyers. They got copy machine. The police do it in the wintertime. They should go and put them on everybody's door so they'll be aware they're doing work on that street. Because a lot of people was running late for work. I called Cliff. I hung up on him because the attitude, not the attitude, but what he gave me was totally wrong. He wasn't there. I was there. The other thing is, you need to monitor the trucks. Okay? I seen trucks out of Red Bank. Need to monitor them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Boyd. Anybody else? Okay. Do we have any executive session? Okay. There is, might as well announce it in case